Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Super excited to have you here. As you can tell, we're about to list, unleash some really great opportunities. Go ahead and look at the actual headline. What is the topic today? Yes, I invited you. You invited yourself. You put a reminder, and I'm so glad that you decided to show up. So, yes, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Boundaries. Super excited. You have your host here, Ruth McCrackin. I love the fact that you are showing up. Hey, beautiful leaders, rising stars. Today's basically what we're going to talk about today. Yes, we're going to be talking about overcoming self-sabotage in today's leadership landscaping. Come on through. Come on through. Let me know that you're looking to trailblaze. You're looking to figure out ways on how to be able to overcome some of these imperative ways to standing out in your own way. Not only that, but taking decisive action to conquer some of this incident. Some of you all may not even know. In fact, you may want to go back and even grab a pen and paper, your digital notepad, whatever the case may be, because I truly want you to be so intentional how you're wanting to break through and break some of these boundaries. You gotta ask yourself, am I self-sabotaging as a leader? Am I doing things that I thought maybe is the right way to doing it, but am I truly giving myself 100%? Am I fully showing up, being present, not only to myself, my family, my business, or into my career, but how am I showing up and eliminating or avoiding self-sabotage? And if you may be saying, Ruth, I know I've identified with this self-sabotage trait. How do I crush it? How do I eliminate this? Well, I'm glad you asked. While you're here today, we're going to go through step by step. Yes, because it matters to me that you move away from this disruptive, aggravating type of what I like to call some sort of impression that you put on yourself, some sort of profile that is now lingering and has been taking full force. Now is time for you to take massive action. And these three powerful steps, my friend, is not only going to allow you to crush it, but it also is going to allow you to be more successful as a leader, as a father, as a mother, as a sister, and a brother. Let's talk about them right now. Let me know that you are ready. Go ahead, and as I'm streaming on multitudes of platforms, because it makes sense that we want to disrupt this current event that we're causing ourselves to be in. And how do you identify? These are some keys that I want you to be able to know. How do you identify self-sabotage? Number one, first thing is awareness is key. Awareness is key. The first step in combating self-sabotage in a way that you want to be able to recognize its presence. Oh, yes. It often manifests as procrastination. Let me know. Be the first to admit. I will be the first to admit this has been something lingering on me on several occasions, on several levels and dimension, but I figured out a way by working and collaborating with other leaders and other coaches multitudes of moons ago. But it's still to this day is the lifelong, I believe, for it to be a lifelong lesson. However, you see yourself progressing and you see yourself performing and presenting in a very holistic way. Self-doubt also comes through. These are certain things to recognize, or a persistence fear of failure. How many of y'all find that, you want to be able to pay attention to moments you are undermining your own success or holding yourself back from reaching, guess what, your full capacity, your full divine version of you, the leader that you were called to be. However, you hear this sound, this whisper that's working behind the scenes. So how do you cultivate this awareness that I'm talking about? Imagine you're a rising star in your current company, right? But lately you've been feeling stuck and you keep pushing off pretty much important projects, feeling basically finding yourself well, actually telling yourself, and I find myself doing this in the beginning of the year. You're telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. I'll go ahead and hit that tomorrow. I'll go ahead and touch base with my team and work on some of the initiatives that we had on our Q1 tomorrow. You can't seem to shake it off though. And this sense of stagnation, guess what? It's not working in your favor. So what do? It's mainly finding yourself recognizing that, guess what? It's working against you. So by constantly delaying important tasks, let me know that this is you. You're not only hindering your own progress and jeopardizing your professional growth. Guess what? Your fear of failure is holding you back from reaching your full potential. Let me throw in some spiritual guidance in here because I truly believe that our human part of us needs to be pushed and identified in our spiritual energy, in our spiritual growth as well, when it comes to wanting to become that best and bigger and better version of you. So, this is what I want you to think about. By constantly delaying important tasks, what do you think you should do? Reflect on this word. Uh, what I believe Christ was sharing with his disciples, Matthew 26, verse 41. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. You will not fail and you will not fall into temptation. Let's repeat. I want to repeat that. The spirit is willing, but the flesh, guess what, is weak. So recognize the importance of staying, yes, vigilant and aware of your actions to avoid failing into self-sabotage. Now, through prayer and mindfulness, ladies and gents, you can actually overcome temptation of procrastination. Who wants to be encouraged and want to align themselves by taking action with your basic aspirations every day? Mainly, again, maybe perhaps you want to take this a deeper notch. Let's talk about it. Step two, patterns and triggers. How do you identify with this? How do you know when self-sabotage tends to follow in a distinct and certain pattern? And you want to be able to identify these triggers. You want to be able to take notes of a reoccurring behaviors that suddenly are coming through, and now you're maybe wasn't aware of it, you wasn't paying close attention, but now that I'm bringing in this through breaking boundaries, how do you recognize certain patterns and certain triggers that's pushing you off the edge? And your goal is you're wanting to stay in the present. You want to stay in the now. So let's talk about it. Self-sabotage tends to not only follow distinct patterns and triggers, guess what? It also wants you to, it also takes over, for example, whether it's avoiding challenges in certain tasks and sabotaging relationships with your managers, your peers, your coworkers. You're like, oh gosh, I don't even feel like coming to work today. I'm having to deal with my supervisor or perhaps my team lead, and it's starting to linger not only in your business, your workplace, it's also in your home. And guess what? It's now becoming your reality, and you're now wanting to shift it because it's now becoming a loop cycle. How many of you all can relate to this? Identifying these patterns that I'm going to share with you is going to be so crucial and so valuable that it's going to help you breaking free from this, what is gripping on you in today's society. Let's talk about it. So, for example, vulnerability and growth. You've been offered, let's say, a challenging leadership role that could propel your career to new heights, right? I talk to high achievers all the time, and they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really excited, but I'm nervous at the same time. However, imposter syndrome creeps in. How many of y'all can definitely kind of yield to, you must be talking to me. I must have tuned in at the right time, at the right hour, because you're talking to me. And somehow a whispering doubt. How many of y'all hear this whispering doubt about your abilities instead of embracing the opportunity of being promoted or finding yourself being considered for what is called to be a game changer for you in your career, in your life? You're now considering turning it down to avoid the risk of failure, the risk of embarrassment, the risk of even seeing what is on the other side of that door. Yeah. Listen, let me know that I am helping you rattle the cage that's been holding you hostage, holding you in boundaries. There's no boundaries in that life. There's no boundaries in that path. What I'm sharing with you. I want you to recall a story of Peter walking on water, Matthew 14, verses 29 and 30. Despite his initial fears, yes, because all of us have those incidents and different occasions where fear tends to want to pop up. But here's what happened to Peter. Peter stepped out of the boat and walked towards Jesus, right? However, when he focused, yes, when he focused on the storm that was already present with him, guess what? The boat did now became not a protection zone for him anymore. He stepped out of the boat thinking he's going towards his master, he's going towards his brother in Christ, but somehow his eyes did not stay on Jesus. He began to what? Think. Yeah. How many of y'all feeling like you're sinking right now? How many of you are falling outside of being just being focused and being distracted? The narrative right here, what I'm teaching is the importance of stepping out in faith. Stepping out in faith, even when faced with uncertainty. Yes, we live in a day and time, things are looking pretty wonky when it comes to, perhaps wanting to promote yourself, when it comes to really wanting to have a sustainability in your business, sustainability in your department, and somehow, some way on the other, you're finding yourself being confronted, and now you're wanting to know, how do I master embracing vulnerability as a pathway of growth? Trusting in the divine guidance is what I want to challenge you to do. That will lead you through life's challenges, my friend. So let's talk about the final one. Let me know if this is helpful. Are you basically picking up what I'm presenting to you out here in the virtual realm? Because it matters to me that you find this to be very valuable. And I will meet with you all in the comments, which I call the retreat. I want to retreat with you and I want to meet you there. But let's go ahead. I want you to pay close attention, because the final one that I'm going to really dive in is going to definitely help uplift and help you disrupt and shift in the trajectory as to what you thought may be holding you back and wasn't sure that it was maybe creating some sort of stagnant. Honest self-reflection. I've been really picking up this tool a lot more. Last year, I went on a sabbatical, self-discovery for a whole year. I didn't pretty much stay. I stayed very low key on a variety of platforms, and only because I believe in having honest self-reflection, pausing, giving yourself permission to know, engage in honest self-reflection not only helps you uncover the root causes of your self-sabotage, yes, it actually helps you explore any underlying fears, limiting beliefs, even maybe if it came from childhood, or perhaps a previous role that you or company that you were working with, or perhaps a different or a previous side hustle that you thought was working for you, and now you put that down and you started another side hustle. How many of y'all can relate to this? You're finding yourself constantly in this loop cycle, exploring and all these limiting beliefs of past experience that may, guess what, be contributing to your self-destructive behaviors. So how do you confront this? How do you go in? How do you confront your inner demons that's basically you want to attack them head on? What do you do? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can begin by doing this. Dismantle those particular negative energies by leveraging power over yourself. What do you do to do that? Well, I want you to take decisive action. How many of you all are willing to take decisive action? You have a groundbreaking idea for a new project, right? I trust me, I have a whole bunch for and we're basically almost wrapping up. We're a little bit halfway through Q1. And now you have this project, and you could basically be revolutionizing your industry, or revolutionizing your company, revolutionizing your team, even maybe perhaps your household. But somehow, however, yes, guess what? Fear of rejection and failure paralyzes you. How many of you all finding yourself being in a paralyzed, stagnant situation, right? And it's mainly preventing you from taking the necessary steps to bring your vision to life, to bring it from out of your head that's probably been in a chamber locked up for many months, many weeks, maybe even years. And now you've given yourself the grace and the opportunity to want to now break through and start creating boundaries and prioritizing your goals. But somehow you convince yourself that it's safer to stick with the status quo. It's safer to just, continue maintaining this current position, continue maintaining this current leadership role rather than risk venturing into the unknown. How many of you all are not willing to push yourself out of the nest and go in a unfamiliar zone of taking risks of the unknown? Maybe promoting yourself, maybe launching out a new book, maybe perhaps wanting to develop growth in your certain business or within your leadership. However, you're afraid that you might fail. However, you may think that this may work against you and not for you. Well, I'm going to tell you to do this. Do it even when you're afraid. Your hesitation, yes, is working against you. Because hesitation basically, in order to eliminate what you're looking to find yourself breaking free from, you've got to take action. Innovate, basically moving yourself to help prevent moving you 10 steps backwards. What I'm asking you to do is, do you realize that you have the hugest, biggest potential? And sometimes we don't know to ask ourselves, what questions do we ask ourselves, Ruth, to be able to know that, is this working against me? And I want you to know this. Your fear of failure keeps you trapped in a cycle of stagnation, hindering not just your personal, but also your personal growth. You've probably been in a position for 5 years, 15 years, maybe even a lot more than that. And now you're coming into reality of, what would life look like outside the doors of my company? What would life look like if I did give myself the strength and the ability to invest in myself, to maybe get a mentor, or to be part of a cohort group, or be part of a coaching program that's going to definitely allow me to become that bigger and more better version, I should say, version of me? Are you willing to take that challenge? I want you to reflect on this particular parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30, where Jesus basically illustrates the importance of investing and multiplying your God-given gifts. The servant who buried his talent out of fear, he basically was rebuked, while those who took decisive action were rewarded. Now, similarly, we are all called to steward our talents. Yes, our gifts, what we're really great at, our meta skills, or even skills that are we wanting to turn into meta skills. Yes. And we are called to be stewards over our talents, but somehow we're limiting our courage, right? And taking bold steps to fulfill our purpose is not only going to be able to help make us a better version of who we wanted to become, but making a positive impact on the world ahead of us. So, in each of what I just explained to you, the principles of self-awareness, vulnerability, and decisive actions are highlighted and basically demonstrating how basically you can take either propel individual steps towards success, or it's basically going to hinder you from moving into a progress of maturity, moving you to a progress of success, moving you to a progress of shifting from doing things differently, doing things that are out of the norm, moving you from being self-sabotage to actually moving into faith, giving yourself permissions to start drawing basically what's in your head outside and writing it down in a vision. I'm back, lost interruption for just a moment, but I'm glad you guys are still hanging and still wanting to go ahead as I wrap this up in a bow and have you to be able to take massive action from our Breaking Boundaries broadcast for today. I want you to remember this. I want you to remember every small step forward is a victory in itself. It is. It is. So celebrate your achievements along the way of eliminating self-sabotage, especially when you're looking to promote yourself as an aspiring leader or as a firm and strong leader. I want you to know that leaders, I'm speaking to you, I'm talking to you, and also aspiring leaders. Don't let self-sabotage derail you in your journey to success. I want you to take the opportunity to cultivate within, not just within you, but within your environment, become more self-aware, embracing vulnerability, and taking decisive action. Don't just keep it all locked up in the chambers of your mind. I want you to know that you can overcome any obstacles in that matter, Are you ready to take over? Are you ready to take action? Are you ready to take control on the things that you can control? Standing in your own way is the main bottleneck, main deficit that you want to avoid in this year. And I want to be able to collaborate with you and partner with you. It's time to unleash what your God given talents are and allow yourself to stand out. And sometimes we got to do it afraid. Become the unstoppable superstar that you are, my friend. Become that unstoppable force that you were destined to be. So I want you to join this movement towards self mastery and personal growth because you have that appetite. That appetite has been lingering in you even way before the year started, even as we're pretty much entering and closing up another month. You want to be able to stay connected. If you're not following, if you haven't subscribed right now, definitely follow our Breaking Boundaries and stay tuned. Continue with our movement in empowering and inciting. And you get to follow me. And not only that, but follow me into multitudes of platforms I will go ahead and help you, inspire you. Together we can help rise this above self-sabotage and conquer the world together, my friend. Because it matters to me that you see yourself soaring, you see yourself thriving for bigger and better. Because I'm going to tell you, the world that we live in today, my friends, it's going to continue to spiral. It's going to continue to move in directions that you may not be ready for. That's why it matters to you and to me. And if it didn't matter to you before this broadcast, you may want to go back and hit the replay as to what exactly that this beam of light was discussing. And I wanted to challenge you today. It's time for you to unleash your potential. It's time to remove self-sabotage and know that you are a leader of greatness. You are a leader of greatness, my friends. And I want to leave you with that. I want you to leave and ponder with that today. That I am greatness. I came from greatness. I'm co-creating with the best version of me every single day. And take massive action. Do it afraid. Do it with fear. Do it with faith. Yes? All right, y'all. Well, until next time, my friends, and I will see y'all soon.